Alright, so looking at this room, there seems to be an error in the code. It's not spawning, and the current energy in the room is only 300. So what happens is the spawn stops generating energy when the room reaches a total energy capacity of 300. So let's go back over the documentation, take a look at this. So first thing we're going to look at is the spawn itself. So spawns will auto regenerate a little amount of energy each tick, so you can basically recover even if all your creeps died. So it has done that. It's given us 300 energy at a rate of 1 energy unit per tick, while the energy available in the room, all spawns and extensions, is less than 300. Here's the problem. Our code is trying to spawn a max size creep because of this code right here, the get body, work, carry, move. So get body is trying to return the maximum number of segments. So we need to change this. The easy fix would be this. Room.energy capacity available, we change that to just energy capacity. And that is found here under room. And as a temporary fix, I think that will be fine. It's the total amount of energy available in all spawns and extensions rather than the maximum capacity. So let me just change that one line, and that will be a temporary fix just to get some spawning going again in the room. I'm going to do, so there's another thing you can do here, which is you get the result. So it's not showing any output right now or the error code. So what we're going to do is grab the spawn creep function, and we're going to capture this return value, and then we can use this for doing some debugging. But back over to our code. This is a spawn creep function. Let result equal that, and then we'll do a console log result. So we'll do spawning new harvester, and you can just use a comma to separate values that are console logged. We'll do room, and we'll do the result. And we'll do that for each one of these guys. And the builder's the last. New upgrader, harvester, and builder. I'm gonna fix this here. It says upgrader still. And that's right. That should be okay. Let's head back over to that game world, see what's happening. Results not defined, so that's probably going to be this error. Result, and this right here. So in JavaScript, you can do a var or a let. A let is a more local variable that's destroyed outside of the immediate function call, which is fine for our case. They only exist really inside these functions. There's probably some other things about var. I can look those up and go over it if somebody has a question in the next video. But let's see here. Results not defined at spawning 49. So this is an example, I guess, where you have to use a of our, for some reason, just right there, while the other two are lets. Spawn a new harvester room, and we're getting a code of -10. So let's go over to the documentation. Okay, so the error we're getting is bodies not properly described. Okay. So let's go back to our code and the get body function. Let's go ahead and echo out this body, or console log this body, so we can diagnose what the issue is there. So it's currently blank. Max segments, energy available, and room. Null, undefined, room, null. Great. Let's go over here to room, energy available. So, okay, the variable is not energy capacity, it's energy available. So always check your documentation if you're getting an error. You could do some sort of debugging with console logs, or you could actually use a debugging tool, but this works fine for our purpose. So we see it can't actually spawn until this specific creep reaches 200, and it decided to build a builder first. The first creep we want to spawn is probably the harvester, since that one actually fills these extensions and gives us more energy to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and sort of rearrange these guys. Interesting. So this one did actually get first. What we can do is make a variable result what it's doing here is it's this code is executing, spawning the creep. Then this code is executing, spawning a new creep. So it's overriding the previous spawn, and this code's executing and then overriding the creep once again. So what we would need to do is either, if the result is equal to OK, which is one of the variables I believe in the documentation, room structure spawn, spawn creep. Yeah, if the constant is OK, it's been scheduled successfully. We want to tell that spawn that it's off limits for the rest of the tick. So we could do this with a for now we can just do it with the hash. So this is something you want to avoid doing in your code. So this right here, this room object, is gathered from over here, and this is dynamically generated. It's not set in stone. While our spawning is only tied to spawn 1, instead of that we want to find the spawns in that room. So why don't we go ahead and do some best practices stuff here. Let spawns equal game, we can just do room dot find my structures, and we need the filter. So let's use that same outer filter we used here. That was pretty clean. So right there will be the function we copy over. And that's right here. Structure spawn. So if spawns equal room.filter, not room.filter, we're just going to do another filter. So this is a Lodash filter, and we're going to filter the spawns object, and then let's copy the format of that tower so we can actually use a structure. And see if that works. Structure dot. So there should be a variable in the spawn here for spawning. Yep, here it is. If the spawn is in the process of spawning a new creep, this will contain a structure spawn.spawning object or null otherwise. So if it's blank, we can assume that the spawn's available to use. So let's go back over to our code and structure.spawning. And what we want to do is grab the opposite. So if it's not spawning, we want to stay in this spawns array. And then if spawns.length, so if there's still elements left in the spawn, we can run that code. So we can do the opposite there, and we can just say return. So what this whole thing will do is find all the structures that are of type spawn in the room, and then filter that spawn list for ones that are currently available or not spawning. And then if the length is 0, then it's just going to break out of this function. Otherwise, it's going to keep going. And what we can do here is if the result of this, we're going to change this guy right here to spawns 0, so the first element in spawns array. Result, if this overall result was okay, then we're going to take that spawn offline or mark somehow that the loop is finished. So the easiest way to do it with that would actually just be to break out of this loop. And we could do that in a few places here. And we should do that after our console log output if you want to keep this, because once the function stops executing, any code below that won't be ran. So we'll just move that up. And we'll do the same thing here, keep formatting similar, and builder. So now it should spawn new creeps and break out if this is a builder, upgrader, builder, builder, builder. So I'm going to change you actually to a harvester. And you also to a harvester. But now it should break out of the loop, and at the first successful spawn, So either we're at max capacity right now for creeps, according to the census, or there's something wrong with the code. So 444. So I don't think we're at max capacity. It looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4 available right now. And our energy available should be greater than 300. So let's do a little bit of checking here in spawning. So console log spawns. So spawns is returning null. So the other format I'm familiar with is this right here. You can do s.structure type equals structure spawn, and then we can remove this guy. Let's see if that returned. Is it room not find not the object? Let's check the documentation. There's a find. There's a find my structures. Just copy this whole bit of code. And back to the documentation structure. It's going to be in constants. Sure. So it could be one of two places. It could be, yep, it's the second filter. The filter spawns, and we're going to pass it each element in the spawns array. Equals null. That didn't work either. For now, we can comment that guy out, and it will just display an error code. All right. So there's still a little bit more work to do. I'm gonna do a little bit of this off camera, do some debugging, and then come back for another video. But this is sort of the process of fixing coding error. I mean, identifying what the problem looks like in the game, and then trying to diagnose what part of your code's not operating correctly. And then from there, you can do research and ask questions until you can find a way to implement a new solution. And if you could do all those steps, then you can program. But in the next video, we're going to keep cleaning up this function. I want to simplify this down into something that's much more manageable, and stop running um, logic like this, which is really repetitive. Instead of this, I want to have a global function that's called on the spawns um, while there's still a spawn in the spawn list, and then maybe migrate this spawning code over into the individual roles. Anyway, see you in the next video.